morning, and welcome to the colloquium entitled Revolution in Intelligence Affairs, Strategic, Operational, and Organizational Impact Drivers. My name is Joe Czika. I am a staff member of the Intelligence Community Studies Board of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. This is the 14th colloquium in the partnership of the National Academies with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. You will notice that this is the second of a series of 3 colloquia on the revolution in intelligence affairs. The first was held on April 28th with the subtitle Technological Drivers. The third and last of the planned colloquia will be held on August 25th. Please check the ICSB website for more information on the topics and the speakers. Before introducing representatives from the sponsoring organizations, I want to make a few administrative announcements. First, this is an unclassified meeting. Secondly, this colloquium is being held as a virtual colloquium. That is to say, all communications are electronic. Third, as is our custom, this colloquium is being video recorded, and the recording will be available in the near future, about a week or so. Check the ICSB website for notice of its availability. Lastly, please note at the bottom of your screen is a feature that asks you to ask questions for our panel session later on in the program. In these questions, please identify yourself and state clearly your question and whether it should be directed to any specific speaker or the entire panel. You can submit these questions anytime during the colloquium. Some of our speakers may opt to open their presentation to questions immediately. You can also submit your questions using that same feature. Also available to you is the program of this colloquium, complete with detailed bios with our speakers, and that's available from the ICSB website. So to move on, let me introduce Dan Flynn. Dan is from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. He is the director there of net assessments in the ODNI. In this position, he is responsible for developing forecasts and comparative assessments to identify emerging intelligence challenges. Prior to his current assignment, Mr. Flynn was the director of the Global Security Program for the National Intelligence Council's Strategic Futures Group. Prior to joining the NIC, Mr. Flynn served as a chairman of the CIA's Senior Analytics Service. Mr. Flynn is a distinguished graduate of the National War College, where he earned a master's degree in national security strategy. He also earned a BS in aerospace engineering from Boston University. Dan, thank you for your introduction and welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Czika, for that kind introduction. And I also want to thank the National Academies for hosting us today and all the speakers for your support to this colloquium. Just to provide a little further information on my background and why we are sponsoring this event, I am from the Policy and Capabilities Directorate at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And it's the mission of that directorate to identify, develop, and articulate a path forward for the U.S. intelligence community. This includes making future bets through strategic initiatives that will address enduring challenges and emerging issues confronting U.S. intelligence. However, before we decide how to prepare for that future, we must first determine what that future is. And as director of the Intelligence Community Net Assessments, it is my role and that of my team to help identify the challenges and threats, as well as the potential opportunities for the intelligence community that will likely emerge in the next 10 to 20 years. By doing so, we hope to assist the intelligence community senior leadership to make more informed decisions on strategy, requirements, investments that will be necessary to prepare for the future intelligence environment. The role of IC net assessments is similar to that of the Office of Net Assessment at the Pentagon. That office was established in the 1970s by the late Annie Marshall, and it evaluates trends shaping the future security environment and informed decisions by the Secretary of Defense regarding the requirements for future U.S. military capabilities. And as part of that mission, Angie Marshall held a series of workshops back in the 1990s to discuss the potential implications of the revolution in military affairs for the U.S. military. And such a revolution is characterized by technological change combined with operational innovation and organizational adaptation to create dramatic increases in capabilities. Today, IC Net Assessments is seeking to do something similar by working with the IC studies boards at the National Academies of Science to host a series of colloquia to discuss the potential for a coming revolution in intelligence affairs. Specifically through discussions with a variety of technology and national security experts, we're seeking to better understand how technology advances and other developments in the strategic environment might come together to produce dramatic changes in the conduct of intelligence. As mentioned, our first colloquium held in April discussed how potential technology drivers, such as advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies, automation, and the tremendous increases in the flow and volume of information resulting from an emerging Internet of Things, might lead to significant changes in the conduct of intelligence. This colloquium will build upon those themes and address the potential operational and organizational implications of a coming revolution in intelligence affairs. And our third and final colloquium in this series will take place on 25 August, and we'll discuss how the future developments in the strategic environment itself might drive changes in the conduct of intelligence. This third colloquium also will attempt to draw key conclusions and insights about a potential revolution in intelligence affairs from all the prior discussions held during this colloquium series. The goal of these discussions is to assist the intelligence community in appreciating these emerging developments as it makes decisions on how best to prepare for the future. I therefore appreciate the support from the National Academies and from our speakers in helping us think about this very important topic. And I look forward to hearing the presentations today, as well as further engagement on these issues in the future. So with that, we'll turn you to the agenda. And I think Caryn is up next to talk about the National Academies. Caryn?
Yes, and let me introduce Caryn Leslie. She is a senior program officer from the Intelligence Community Studies Board, which is in the Division of Engineering and Physical Sciences of the National Academies. Prior to that, she served in the CIA, largely working in scientific and technology areas. Before that, she worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency and the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. Ms. Leslie holds a master's degree in strategic intelligence, as well as an MS and BS in electrical engineering. Caryn, thank you for your welcoming comments.
Thank you very much, Joe and Dan. I've been charged with telling everybody about the National Academies writ large. And first of all, I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for taking your time to attend this series of colloquia, which we find very interesting. And I'd like to thank Dan for allowing us the honor of helping them with this. The National Academies is very old. As a matter of fact, they were signed into being by an act of incorporation in 1863 by Abraham Lincoln. And the National Academy of Science was charged at that time to investigate, examine, experiment, and report upon any subject of science or art whenever called upon to do so by any department of the government. And I think that you'll find these 158 years later that although we have expanded and we've added 2 more honorific society academies, that of medicine and engineering, the mission has only changed very slightly. Now our goal is to provide independent, objective advice and informed policy with evidence-based discussions to spark progress and innovation and confront challenging issues for the benefit of society. A lofty goal, no matter how you look at it. Most of the work that is done to support these goals are done through what we call the National Research Council, which comprises 7 major program areas. including the Division of Engineering and Physical Science, which we are all members of. But there's also a division on Earth and Life Sciences, Health and Medicine, Behavior and Social Sciences, Policy and Global Affairs, Transportation, and the Gulf Research Program. So as you can see, we span a wide variety of areas that the government may find useful. We could also produce a number of activities and products to help the government in their pursuits. Some of the things that we do are peer-reviewed consensus reports, and right now we have ones of interest to the IC, many of interest to the IC, but in particular, there's one that is evaluating how to best leverage the R&D ecosystem, another that is exploring the future of encryption and the implications for the intelligence community. One is looking at how to protect critical technologies for national security in an era of openness and competition. And that is just a few of the things that we have going on as far as consensus studies. We also have workshops, such as one that was held to discuss robust machine learning algorithms and systems for the detection and mitigation of adversarial attacks and anomalies. The ICSB, which is hosting this colloquium, also held a 2-year series of workshops to look into technological surprise that arises from the convergence of developments across fields. So we also have various roundtables and forums, such as one that we have right now that's going on, that is the Forum on Cyber Resilience. The ICSB, and this is a little bit of a hand wave for my home organization, also has a unique activity, which was the Intelligence, Science, and Technology Experts Group. That gives our sponsor the ability to submit questions to a group of over 500 volunteers to get rapid answers that can then be used to help inform decisions. I mentioned those volunteers. In addition to the volunteers, we have, well, in addition to the people who are on our committees and in ISTEG, we have over 6,500 members of those 3 honorary academies that I mentioned earlier. And of those 6,500 members of the academies, we have over 300 Nobel laureates. We have the ability to reach out to them. And because of the 158 years of experience, we also have the ability to reach out to a variety of experts across the government, academia, and industry, and to bring those skills to bear on any problems that policy needs to have support with. DEPS, which is, I mentioned, the Division of Engineering and Physical Science, is comprises 6 different organizations. There's the ICSB, which you have heard of. There's the Lab Assessment and Physical Infrastructures, Energy and Sustainability, Computing Models and Analytics, Materials, Manufacturing and Supply Chains, and also Physics, Space, and Aeronautics. And as I said, DEPS is only one of the 7 major areas. So I think that gives you a little bit of the flavor of the expanse of topics that we cover. So today, we are here to focus on the way the IC will operate in the not so distant future, as Dan described. But as you can see, NASEM is ready and willing to support any need for information that can help ensure policies are grounded in solid science. I urge anyone listening here today who believes that their organization could use some help in any sort of scientific area, please get in touch with us so that we can see how we can help you. That's why we're here. And we've been doing it for 158 years, so we're getting pretty darn good at it. So with that, I thank you again for your time, and I'd like to return us to Dr. Czika.
Thank you, Caryn, for those very informative remarks.